No problem. Yeah, we are live to hear the world. Kindly go ahead. I've already started. Is this show going to change the face of India? From democracy to autocracy. Election Commission of India appointment in the hands of Prime Minister, opposition leader, and his own cabinet minister. We have complained in April about the degree of Honorable Prime Minister MA BA. Is it to avoid that? Because we demanded inquiry, forensic appraisals of those certificates, which his wife clearly said they are duplicate. That time there is no font size degree, only handwritten degree. And is this going to be a game changer? India, the largest democracy in the world, is going to change into autocracy. Will democracy survive with this amendment, which is going to destroy the independence of Election Commission of India? Free and fair elections. We elect representatives from Panchayat to the Prime Minister, and even then they elect President of India and Vice President. So this independence is going to go away with this amendment. Instead of discussing on the floor of the parliament, they are not allowing any discussion. Now they are creating another COVID scare which is never there. We are demanding for post-mortem everything in Kerala. So don't worry, my dear citizens. As and when political upheaval happens, all of a sudden COVID-19 comes to the fore. But TB, dengue, malaria, typhoid are more dangerous, and this amendment to Election Commission of India is more dangerous than your COVID, because democracy, if it is gone, our freedom is gone, we will never survive. Sir, please go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupt you.
No problem, Doctor. First, thank you for having me on your show. First, let us start from the basics. What does the Constitution say? Article 324 of the Constitution says it gives the powers to the President to appoint the Chief Election Commissioner, and the number of election commissioner he decides is required. And this appointment is to be done by the mechanism given by the Act of Parliament. This is what 324 says. The mechanism by which an election commissioner is to be appointed is to be specified by the Parliament. Why was this particular resolution put like that? Particular article was written like that. At that time, Dr. Ambedkar said that the election commission should be selected by a neutral body. It should not be appointed by the government. That is the actual words of Dr. Ambedkar. Till 1991, the President was appointed the Election Commission on the recommendation of the government, which was as per the Act. Now, in 2023, the Supreme Court has passed an order which says that the selection of the election commissioner, chief election commissioner, and the election commissioners will be done by a panel of 3 people comprising of the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. And this will apply as long as till the date when the Parliament passes an act. Now you must understand, the election commissioner is going to retire sometime in February 2024. And a new election commissioner has to be appointed. Now a new election commissioner can be appointed only if the Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, or the Leader of the largest opposition party, and the Chief Justice make this selection. To circumvent this, the government has introduced an act in the Parliament which lays down the mechanism by which an election commissioner can be appointed. You must understand that very clearly. By March 23 order, Supreme Court said Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and Chief Justice of India will select the Chief Election Commissioner, who will be appointed by the President, and this will be in force till the Parliament passes an act listing out the mechanism by which a CEC can be appointed. In February, the election commissioner is going to retire, which means in February, a new election commissioner has to be appointed. And that can be appointed only as per this procedure. Therefore, the government has now, in haste, I will tell you, in haste, has introduced this act in Parliament to ensure that only its nominee can be put in as the Chief Election Commissioner. So, this is the background of the act. The actual act is Chief Election Commissioner and the other election commissioners appointment, conditions of service and terms of office 2023. This is the heading of the act. Now, according to this act, it is the CEC, the Chief Election Commissioner and the Election Commissioner will be appointed by the President on the recommendation of a selection committee. And the selection committee will consist of the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, and a Union Cabinet Minister, who will be recommended by the Prime Minister. So, in other words, the Chief Justice of India has been removed, and in his place, a Union Minister has been put on the selection committee, which is patently wrong, which is patently against the Constitution, which is patently against the intention of the founders of the Constitution, which is against what Ambedkar had recommended. Ambedkar had very clearly said that the government cannot appoint the election commissioner. Now, in this, the Prime Minister and the Union Cabinet Minister, who is recommended by the Prime Minister, they will be in majority. The leader of the opposition, he will be in minority. In other words, it is immaterial whether the leader of opposition votes or does not vote. And the decision is not going to be unanimous. If any two people agree upon one person, he will be the Chief Election Commissioner. This is a very big lacuna. In fact, it will be challenged in courts on this ground, saying that it is altering the very basic principle of democracy in this country. And if the Supreme Court agrees, if the Supreme Court decides that what we are talking today makes sense, then the Supreme Court will strike down this law. And the position will be Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and the Chief Justice. It will continue till this act is amended. Under no circumstances can the government appoint the Chief Election Commissioner. This is one thing. The second thing, the recommendations of the selection committee will be from a panel of 5 names given by a search committee. And the search committee will consist of the cabinet secretary and 5 other members of some equal ranks, equivalent to the secretary of the central government. So the search committee belongs to the government, secretaries to the government. The selection committee will be dominated by the government, and in addition to all this, the remuneration for the Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners will be equivalent to that of the cabinet secretary. See, there is a very big point here. I don't know, some people have missed out this point. It will be equivalent to the cabinet secretary. Originally, it was equivalent to the justice, to the judges, judiciary, Supreme Court judges, equivalent to that salary.
Union Cabinet.
Now it is
more than above Union Cabinet rank.
Yes. Now it is equated to the cabinet secretary's pay scale. But the cabinet, the judge's salary is fixed by an act of parliament. Whereas the salary of the cabinet secretary is fixed by the government. So government is appointing the Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner, and it is going to decide how much salary they will pay to the Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioner. So how can this Election Commission be neutral?
Wonderful.
And in addition to all this, what the Act says is, if the search, even if there is a defect in the search committee's recommendation, or there is a defect in the selection commission's recommendation, that will be valid. That means there is no recourse. What the Prime Minister says, actually it will be the Prime Minister who will be appointing the Chief Election Commissioner, which is absurd as per the Constitution.
So he is appointing the election commission who is going to elect him. So, sure.
Now the position is, the government will select the election commissioner. The government will select the election commissioner, and the election commissioner will elect the government. You scratch my back, I will scratch your
back.
ये कैसा हो सकता है? And if this passes, how can we call ourselves a democracy? Who is the judge, jury? Everything is the government. Where is the neutral observer here? And why do you want to put the leader of the opposition or the largest opposition party as one member of it when you are not going to consider his opinion at all? Is it going to be a rubber stamp? This is the biggest problem. Now, apart from all this, there is you were talking about the university degree. Here, I'll have to, because you have said that it should be sent for forensic examinations, etc., etc. Now, I did an analysis of that degree. See, the point is, it is supposed to be the old English text font. Old English text font, which was patented only in 1992, whereas this certificate is issued in 1980s. And that belongs to the Monotype Corporation. Now, actually, there is a small discrepancy in what you said. Prior to 1980s, there have been printed forms, there have been printed certificates. In fact, I was surprised when I saw Dr. Ambedkar's certificate, law certificate. There it was a printed certificate with all the details, and one thing that was peculiar in the university degree certificate which Modi had given, it was given as university, B was shown as B.
Yeah, that's what.
Now it is university, not university, but actually what is there is the font is belonging to the Lincoln type font. I think Lincoln type, Lincoln Pro type or something like that. That font. Incidentally, Dr. Ambedkar's certificate also carried the same mistake. That is university. Then we did a close analysis of that B portion. Actually, it is B written like B. And there are a lot of differences in the font itself. So we can't say it is actually Old English text. It is similar to Old English text, but there is a lot of differences. Now, when I took Dr. Ambedkar's thing and we ran a font search software on that, what was shown was, it was not only Old English text, it was called there is another font called marriage font and wedding standard font and a Lincoln Pro font. So all these three things are similar to your Old English text font, except there is a minor differences in that, discrepancies in that. So we cannot say that the university degree certificate produced by Modi is forced, because the font differs. So based on the point, it cannot be taken. But there are other issues, like you said that Yashoda Ben has said that he has not attended a course at all. Dr. Reddy, forget about 1980s. Even today, I can get a degree without going to the university at all. I can purchase one degree certificate, and it will be genuine. But my point, my limited point is, I don't know why the Election Commission wants a university degree at all, because the qualification for an MP or Prime Minister, it doesn't call for any degree at all. The qualification does not say that he should be educated. If that were the reason, then Kamaraj Nanda wouldn't have become an MP at all. Or Karunanidhi wouldn't have become the Chief Minister of this state.
No,
So,
that's why
I don't know why they are doing it.
No, that is the reason why my query to them only was because it was mentioned there and she openly stated, "ये फर्जी है." I wanted Election Commission of India to inquire. See, at least the basic thing they gave me complaint IDs as they have done in 2018, violations of constitutional violations. Since then, all assemblies completed their terms. Till today, believe me, Election Commission of India, Telangana Chief Electoral Officer, or other Telangana Chief Electoral Officers, they did not bother to attend my complaints. Went on giving complaint IDs. This is where I was trying to prove a point that Election Commission of India, now itself it is not independent. Now what? If it comes under the clutches of the government or the party in power in that governance, and Election Commission of India, when someone is submitting a false base degrees or something, it has got its duty to inquire and to revert back, because they cannot furnish whatever they feel like in their affidavit. Another example, in Dharani this time, in Telangana, there is a column in Dharani wherein you did not disclose information about your land holdings. Can you believe this? 20 lakh acres has gone from government land after Dharani. And Dharani, one act says, you simply they'll keep your land holdings record in secrecy. And the same thing, Election Commission of India allowed that type of, document. How can this be? What is this Election Commission of India? How is that? I am not able to understand the proper details of the candidate who is contesting and whom I am going to elect. I have every right to know what this candidate is all about. Yep, sir, please go
Correct,
ahead.
Dr. Reddy. You have every right to ask for questions. You have every right to ask questions. Now the Election Commission says, I have the right not to answer your question. Because the Digital Personal Data Protection Act says, under the RTA, you cannot ask for a person's qualifications, because that becomes his personal data. They have amended the RTA itself.
No, I have not gone for RTI to Election Commission of India.
No,
My complaint
you
is
have not gone to.
no. My
what I'm
direct
saying
complaint. I have generated
No, no.
complaint IDs.
Dr. Reddy, this is what I am saying.
Yeah, I got
This
it.
is what
I got
am
your
saying.
point. I got your point.
You are asking a genuine complaint. Now the Election Commission says we cannot reveal this information because it is prohibited under the RTA Act as a DPDA Act as a private information. In fact, see, this is one of the, even in the earlier talk that I had given you, this is what I had mentioned. The Digital Data Personal Data Protection Act and several other acts which the government has passed, and several other acts which the government is going to pass even now. For example, they have put up that broadcasting bill draft. I don't know whether you have seen that, but you should see it. Because once that comes into force, then the government will have a right to block your channel. If you ask inconvenient questions like degree certificates and all that, that has to be opposed.
Yeah.
And another thing is the Postal Act. Postal Act has been for 125 years, 130 years, the Postal Act has survived without any problem. And one rule in that Postal Act was that no message between two individuals can be intercepted by the government without due process of law. Now that has been overturned. Now the government has got the right to intercept any message. whether in the you send it by post or you send it by electronic means.
Telegraph Act.
Now it has empowered itself. It is a violation of the fundamental right to privacy.
Yeah, my life to liberty, Article 21. My right to liberty, privacy. What is that? Is what I filed a case
Yeah,
also in
no.
High Court.
No,
My phone-
it is totally violated now. But unfortunate thing is, our problem in this democracy is we don't have a strong opposition.
That's
We
the
don't have a strong opposition. We don't have a educated opposition.
That's what. That's the correct word.
That is the biggest problem. Because these opposition parties should have stood up in parliament and opposed it tooth and nail. They should not have just walked out of the parliament. They are not doing their job properly. And because they are not doing the job properly, the government is taking steps which is bringing us all under increasing level of surveillance. For example, I'll give you another example also. Now the Ministry of Information Technology has constituted two departments where they are going to link artificial intelligence with cyber security.
Yeah, that will come back. That will do it exclusively because
No, that will do it exclusively. But I am telling you, see, these are the steps that the government is taking, and because they are taking it, we are losing on our democratic rights. We are losing our right to privacy.
yeah.
We are losing our fundamental rights. It is in incremental steps that we are proceeding towards a surveillance state. This is the biggest problem. And regarding your university degree, yes, it has to be examined. Yashoda Ben has to be examined. Without examining it, if the election commission is going to take the university certificate at its face value, then the election commission is not doing its job. And if it is not doing its job, then why ask for the degree certificate at all?
Yeah, that's it. It's as simple as that.
Just leave it. Just leave it to the discretion of the people. Why make it a point that you have to ask for a degree certificate and create an unnecessary hurdle there? And I have gone through several university degrees. Nowhere I have found out entire political science. That is the degree awarded. I don't know what is the entire. Is there a degree called partial political science?
That's what. So many discrepancies in Prime Minister Modi's degrees, which he has. That too, my contention is. My contention is only one thing, Ravichandran ji, as you rightly pointed out. I have no grouse. These channels and like wonderful guests like you, we have no enmity against individuals, nor animosity against parties or organizations. What we are saying is, what is that degree, that complete or whatever political science? And this has been made sarvajanik. These are the words used by Mr. Amit Shah, who is still the Home Minister, and Mr. Jaitley is no more, and he was the Law Minister. They both came out and they said these are the degrees of our Honorable Prime Minister, BA and MA. I have quoted only that. Sarvajanik, what is that MA and BA? And they gave me complaint ID from April to this day. They have not bothered to respond, as you rightly said. Inquire Yashoda Ben, inquire Mr. Amit Shah and Jaitley is no more, and inquire the degree itself and that column itself. How dangerous it is. So when now it is the problem. It is like this. Now how dangerous this amendment is going to be, sir?
See, this amendment is going to destroy the election commission's neutrality. Simple. Now, what is the qualification of the electoral chief election commissioner? He should be of a secondary rank and he should be associated with the election work at some point in his career. Now it is, you see, election commission is dealing with a lot of litigations. For example, your university degree holdings. Now, if there was a lawyer or a judge in the election commission, then he can do that investigation, he can find out the legality of the university degree, etc. etc. What does an IAS officer know about it? That is why these qualifications for the Chief Election Commission excludes a lot of people, excludes a lot of qualified people who can become election commissioners. In fact, there have been several committees like the Goswami Committee, then the Law Ministry Committee. Every committee has said that One committee has said that Lok Sabha Speaker, Prime Minister was not included. Lok Sabha Speaker, the President and the Chief Justice should go in. Another committee said that the Rajya Sabha Speaker and the Lok Sabha Speaker and two others should go in. So it was always the government did not have a full say majority in that. That is why I am saying there are, I think if I remember right, there are 4 or 5 committees which were formed to recommend what sort of selection committee should be formed. In South Africa, you see, it is a totally neutral this thing. In Canada, it is the House of Commons, that is the Lok Sabha which says appoints the election commission. Not one person, not 2%, it is the parliament, that is the Lok Sabha, the Canadian thing which is electing the election commission. In the United Kingdom, again, it is 2 people who are doing it. In US, the president appoints the election commissioner, and there the Senate has to ratify it. Till then it is not possible. Now that is how it should be. That is how you can see that a person who is put in the election commission chair is neutral without swinging either to any other party. Today we have a situation where an election commission, chief election commissioner resigns and joins the party as a member.
Yeah.
Now what will happen? You just as Rajya Sabha was originally, when they formed Rajya Sabha, it was meant only for appointing distinguished people in different walks of life to that. That is why it is called the elders. They are called the elders. But today what we are seeing? We are seeing every politician who has lost in the Lok Sabha elections finding a place in the Rajya Sabha.
With due respects to political unemployment place.
So if you lose an election in a Lok Sabha, why? For example, Manmohan Singh was declared a citizen from Northeast. He doesn't even have a place there. He doesn't even know where Northeast is. He was supposed to represent that state in Rajya Sabha, and that is how he became Prime Minister. These are all limits of absurdity. Our foreign minister is a Tamilian, but he is a Rajya Sabha member from Gujarat. Our finance minister is from Tamil Nadu, but she is a Rajya Sabha member from Karnataka. Then what is the sense in having this thing? Now, this is how, now in the same manner. Today, you can ask any party member to resign and make him the election commissioner. And once he becomes the election commissioner, tomorrow he will rejoin the party as a minister. So where is the neutrality? And if there is no neutrality, how can the elections that these people conduct be considered as neutral? This is the biggest problem. People should object to this. Somebody will definitely take this to court. And if it goes to court, I don't think the Supreme Court will uphold this election commission bill 2023. It will come back to the parliament to be redrafted. That is my hope. That is my expectation also.
Yeah.
Back to you, Dr. Ravichandran.
Wonderful. There is another problem also. Now, don't you see what if opposition leader and the cabinet minister who is opposing the prime minister of the day, if they both unite, what will be the scenario? It will destabilize the parliamentary democracy.
Yeah, it will destabilize. And if there is a coalition government, then what happens? Then, see, now it is, it is going to create a lot of issues now. Because our politicians are not people of integrity. Let me put it very plain.
Yeah.
Today, everything, money only speaks.
Yeah.
How do you depend upon this? Today, okay, let me assume that Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah are very good people. They will be always neutral. Fine. But what is the guarantee that the Prime Minister who comes tomorrow will be neutral?
Yeah, that's what they are not understanding, that what we are after them.
He will ensure that BJP does not come to power after that.
That's what the dangers, imminent dangers. They are not understanding, both Modi and Amit Shah and Bharatiya Janata Party or NDA for that matter. That is what our concern is.
Yes. And one thing these people don't understand is these people don't read history.
Yeah.
When Hitler was made the Chancellor of Germany, He was an elected member of the parliament. He won an election and came, but he was in the minority. And using the parliament, he passed a number of laws which made him a dictator. Tomorrow, if a similar person comes to power in India, he will use these laws to make himself powerful and become a dictator. Then what happens? Then what democracy can we talk about? And remember, this broadcasting bill and there are two other bills which I wanted to talk about also. If these things come into play, then we can say goodbye to democracy. It is not, it won't be a democracy. It will be only a guided democracy.
So you mean to say to curb democracy, the first step is the neutrality of election commission's appointment is gone now.
Yes, it is gone now. If the neutrality, if the election commissioner's neutrality goes, then nothing now remains. The election commissioner will act only as per what the government says. It is not enough if Caesar is above suspicion. Caesar's wife should also be above suspicion.
Wonderful.
It is not enough if the election commissioner is above suspicion. His action should also be above suspicion.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, then there is no neutrality there. In fact, once an election commissioner taken from the government ranks, appointed by the government, paid by the government, do you think he will go against him?
Yeah. See, opposition is not attending parliament. They are boycotting. They are being suspended. Yes, that is the biggest attack. How can unemployed have attacked parliament? That instead of that unemployment discussion on the floor of the parliament, government is running away. And in doing so, the critical bill amendment in Rajya Sabha post Lok Sabha on election commissioners appointment, opposition is not thinking on those lines. So before I say bye, I would like to show two comments which were made by the eminent just wanted to show you that, and I'll say bye. And this is the greatest danger. I hope the country understands. Election commissioners are of special secretary ranks. That means, and their salaries are also will be on the lines of special secretaries. That means the government of the day is going to control them through the salaries. That means they are nothing but they will become government servants. Another government servant answerable to the politician. And how can Election Commission of India will be neutral? Modi's government push for EC bill shows BJP is convinced it will rule India till 2069. On the face of it, Modi government's push for EC bill may look like a move to strengthen the ECI, but in reality, it is just the opposite. It seeks to give PM appointed CECs and ECs a shield against any civil or criminal proceedings for their acts of omission or commission in office. Think of scenario where PM appoints ECs and ECEC presumably with a proven record of loyalty and obedience. They would be expected to repay their debts of gratitude in every way possible. They don't have to fear any consequences in future once the law is in place. Shame. Justice Rohinton Nariman suggests having collegium with retired judges urges court to protect media from tax rates. And in that he added that retired judges constituting such a revised collegium could be selected by practicing advocates. Read what Justice Nariman said about the Article 370 judgment and on bill about elections commissioners also. That is the greatest danger which we are going to face. And what is that you are going to say on the last comment, sir? Now we are running out of time.
Now, because of a weak opposition, the government is passing a number of laws which will be detrimental to democracy in this country. And if this is not questioned, if this is not stopped, we will lose the freedom to protest. We will not deserve the freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of this thing, because freedom comes with a great responsibility. If you don't show the responsibility, then you don't